everyone. Welcome to the report of week 9, which is supply chain management. Here are your reporters in order: Rica Ford, Wilfredo Jr., Tan Maria, Krisha May, Varques, Karen Joy, Tizon Axel, Nozit, Malia Ali, lastly, Solomon Trisham K.
Hi, I am Frederick Ford. I am going to discuss what supply chain management is. Enable for the business to operate effectively and efficiently in a systematic process and in control, supply chain management is needed. Products and services are crucial for the business, and in able to highlight its value, it is important to always put in our mind the nature and purpose of supply chain management. The management of a network of interconnected businesses involved in the provision of product and service packages required by end customers is termed as supply chain management. Supply chain management serves as the connection of all important aspects or factors needed in the creation of product and services. Supply chain management encompasses all raw material, work in process inventory, and finished goods movement and storage from point of origin to point of consumption. Furthermore, supply chain management includes the planning and management of all sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistics management activities. As what I have mentioned, supply chain management encompasses all the necessary factors or aspects involved in the creation of product or services. Supply chain management is not just a mere connection, but it also focuses on the planning and management of the said network or connection. Sourcing, procurement, conversion, and logistics are some of the aspects being planned and managed under the concept of supply chain management. It also contains the critical elements of channel partner and customer coordination and collaboration. Again, supply chain management deals with the understanding of both internal and external factors involved in the supply chain. Supply chain management is a systematic strategic coordination of the traditional business functions and the tactics across these business functions within a particular company and across the businesses within the supply chain for the purposes of improving the long-term performance of the individual companies and the supply chain as a whole. The supply chain management shows that there is a network or connection from all aspects involved in the creation of product and services, from sales and product development, procurement, suppliers, manufacturing, warehouse, logistics, consumers, and shareholders. All of these factors are critically assessed and understood under the supply chain management. For supply chain management requires a total system view of the linkages in the chain that work together efficiently to create customer satisfaction at the end point of delivery to the customer. Supply chain management shows an integration of key business processes across the supply chain for the purpose of creating value for customers and stakeholders. Moving on. The essential software applications being used under supply chain management are generally termed as supply chain management software. Supply chain management software includes tools or modules used to execute supply chain transaction, manage supplier relationship, and control associated business process. Examples of supply chain management software are Oracle, GDA software, Kinaxis, IFS, etc. And in our class in CBM 112, we're using the systems, applications, and products in data processing or SAP. The said applications help businesses in product development, sourcing, production, and logistics by automating operations. The same concept as supply chain management software. Supply chain event management or SCEM is a consideration of all possible events and factors that can disrupt a supply chain. With SCEM, possible scenarios can be created and solutions devised. SCEM refers to software that is used to manage events that occur within and between organizations or supply chain partners. SCEM is important as it enables the users to quickly respond to unplanned events such as late shipments, parts shortages, or production delays. And now let's proceed to the needs for supply chain management. As we all know, supply chain encompasses the companies and business activities needed to design, make, deliver, and use a product or services. Businesses depend on their supply chains to provide them with what they need to survive and thrive. First of all, production. This driver can be made very responsive by building factories that have a lot of excess capacity and that use flexible manufacturing techniques to produce a wide range of items. Inventory, on the other hand, responsiveness here can be had by stocking high levels of inventory for a wide range of products. The third one, location. Approach that emphasizes responsiveness would be one where a company opens up many locations to be physically close to its customer base, has used locations to be very responsive to its customers by opening up a lot of stores in its high volume markets. The fourth one is transportation. Responsiveness can be achieved by a transportation mode that's fast and flexible. Many companies that sell products through catalogs or over the internet are able to provide a high level of responsiveness by using transportation to deliver their product often within 24 hours. Example like FedEx, LBC, or JNT. The last one is information. The power of this driver grows stronger each year as the technology for collecting and sharing information become more widespread, easier to use, and less expensive. With those drivers, production, inventory, location, transportation, and information, supply chain management is attainable. Understanding the concept of supply chain management is important for the growth and development of a business. Listed in the presentation are some of the benefits of supply chain management. Supply chain management improves business performance, system capability, supply chain effectiveness, channel management and communication, supply chain partnership, and productivity. Also, supply chain management empowers supply chain integration and supply chain information and sharing visibility.
The elements of supply chain management are the following: the sales management planning, collaborative planning, fulfillment and replenishment, concurrent engineering, extended ERP, integrated supply planning, which will be discussed also by the other reporters. The first one is the sales and operations planning, or also known as S&OP. Is an integrated planning process that aligns demand, supply, and financial planning, and is managed as part of company's master planning. S&OP is designed and executed to support executive decision-making related to improving a feasible and profitable material and financial plan. The sales and operations plan is part of both strategic and tactical planning. The sales, operations, and management contains leadership that progress with change management, executive support, and feedback mechanism. The next is the strategic alignment that consists of business plan, supply chain policies, and performance measurement. Also, the structure that provides the decision, ownership, cross-silo synchronization, and workflows. Next is the execution, wherein it contains calendar, meeting and consensus, and exemptions. Lastly, the analytics that consists of the decision support system, planning technology, what if or simulation. The process of progress in sales and operations are the data preparation, demand planning, supply of inventory planning, pre-S&OP, then lastly the executive S&OP. And now, we will present a video presentation that is all about the sales operations planning.
Balancing what you expect to sell with what you can profitably source, produce, and deliver should be the goal of your business. The reality? The effort spans multiple departments, people, timeframes, and often continents. Success relies on information that's fragmented, sometimes outdated. It's not always a pretty or accurate picture. Logility helps companies establish sales and operations operations planning processes that balance resources and information with corporate goals and objectives to increase revenue, lower costs, and boost profitability. Imagine understanding strategic trade-offs years in advance while making the day-to-day decisions based on the real-time heartbeat of your business. Logility Voyager Solutions brings the right people to the table consistently with one plan for your business, routinely pulling together the C-suite, finance, supply chain, manufacturing, sales, and marketing so everyone is seeing, working from, and agreeing to one plan. That one plan drives strategic, tactical, and operational efforts, letting you synchronize your entire organization to serve your customers better with less effort and more confidence. Create accountability, remove reliance on quick fixes and error-prone spreadsheets, leverage a digital twin to generate multiple scenarios and evaluate business trade-offs. Logility helps you regain faith in your forecast, giving you the ability to course correct where and when needed.
Hello everyone, I am Karen Joy Alvarez and today I'm going to discuss with you the Collaborative Planning, Fulfillment and Replenishment. The Collaborative Planning, Fulfillment and Replenishment or CPFR is originally defined by the VIX Committee, which consisted of leading retailers, manufacturers, and solution providers. VIX Committee defines it as business practice wherein trading partners use information technology or IT and a standard set of business procedures to combine their intelligence in the planning and fulfillment of customer demand. By linking sales and marketing practices to supply chain planning and execution processes, it enables trading partners, retailer, and manufacturer to improve visibility into one another's critical activities through a structured process of information sharing and joint decision-making across firm-level boundaries. CPFR helps address uncertainty of customer demand and all dependent upstream variables. And through the information sharing between all trading and internal parties about demand signal, capacities, and inventories across the network allows for reduced individual risk hedging measures and productive utilization of effort and resources. VIX Committee prescribes a four-stage guide to implement CPFR which can fit multiple partner relationship scenarios, and the following are the four most popular deployments. First, details event collaborative, annual or seasonal impact of such event. This CPFR scenario presents a collaboration framework that enables all trading partners to capitalize on such planned events. Here, the partners develop joint business plan, annual or seasonal, then work together to determine the impact of such events on consumer demand and distribution processes. And based on the event's calendar, promotional orders are placed and delivery made in time for the actual event. In parallel, exception processing continues to handle unforeseen issues, if any, and the cycle ends with an evaluation of the event performance. The second stage is DC replenishment. This scenario enables manufacturers to adopt make-to-demand policy while allowing retailers minimize their inventory liability and stock-out risk. This framework offers a joint order commitment process at multiple horizons, leading to an order or series of orders that span over a time horizon. This also extends the replenishment process beyond the buyer's DC and seller's finished goods warehouse to encompass all the nodes in the supply chain. Next is store replenishment. This scenario capitalizes on the insights of both the retailers and manufacturer to deliver optimized replenishment. As with DC replenishment, conventional store replenishment programs include a single trading partner over a given time horizon. Partner collaborates on post forecasts and other factors like store clustering, replenishment parameters, and assortment optimization. This collaboration is focused on the store, which is the supply chain's interface with consumer and hence directly influences shelf availability. Lastly, collaborative assortment planning is applicable for industries where product life cycle is short and demand patterns follow a season rhythm such as fashion apparel and accessories. Due to such product characteristics, there is minimal discrete historical data to utilize in the planning cycle, and so importance is laid upon collaborative research of market trends, customer taste, and other business affecting factors. All partners jointly develop an assortment plan containing product visuals and financials, which leads to a planned purchase order at the style, color, and size granularity for each retailer stock point. Through the CPFR method, represent a drastic shift from the traditional silo-based transactional relationship between various functions, internal and external. Tremendous value can be created by working together towards the same forecast numbers. Next, I'm going to discuss with you the concurrent engineering, which will be later elaborated by the next reporter. Product and design is one of the most effective tools for an organization to differentiate itself from its competitors. A continuous stream of new products and processes that best suit the customer requirements and are manufactured in a way that is difficult for the competitors to emulate with comparable cost and quality can help a firm build enormous competitive advantage. And that would be all for my report. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Axel Luzit Rudiliat Izon, your reporter for APICS, Extended ERP, and Integrated Supply Planning. First and foremost, the APICS. It defines concurrent engineering as a concept that refers to the participation of all the functional areas of the firm product design activity. This includes the suppliers and customers with the intent to enhance the design and inputs of all the key stakeholders so that the product can be quickly brought to the marketplace while maximizing quality and minimizing cost. This is currently known as the Association for Supply Chain Management, or ASCM, a globally recognized APICS certifications with end-to-end learning and development, industry experts, and global standards to transform your supply chain. Next up is Extended Enterprise Resource Planning, or the ERP. This is a software that facilitates more efficient business processes in the finance, manufacturing, distribution, sales, and other core business areas. Integration with ERP is usually required to eliminate redundant information and process. The picture here shows the ERP's components to form the said input. First up is the Customer Relation Management, or Customer Relations Management. This includes software related to business processes for sales teams and call centers to function more autonomously. Secondly is the Product Lifecycle Management. This includes design, regulation, manufacturing, and field service activities having to do with how a product changes over its lifespan. Next is the Product Data Management. This system captures and manages product information. It ensures that the information is delivered to users throughout the product life cycle. Fourth is the Supply Chain Management. This includes software for planning and controlling any step in the manufacturing and distribution processes, including tracking external companies' handling of products. Next is Mining Data, or Data Mining, a term from computer science, also called as Knowledge Discovery in Databases, or KDD. This is about finding new information in a lot of data, also storing data that can be used for later purposes. E-commerce, or last, is the buying and selling of goods and services, while integration requirements talks about the industry's functionality requirements. Extended ERP modules will require different degrees of integration. Cybersecurity has now become a discipline that's addressed at the senior management level. Rather than just by IT departments, the nature of this threat creates a need for both focus and resources in this field. Next is the integrated supply planning. This talks about the procurement, production, distribution, and sales of the company. What you see here is the flow of information and material for the supply planning, strategic planning for the long term, fully integrated sales and operations planning for the midterm, and flows of scheduling and acceptance for short terms, where you can see the procurement scheduling, production scheduling, transporting scheduling or transportation scheduling, and order acceptance. There are also subtopics for integrated supply planning. one of them being the supplier rationalization, in which the firm may have more suppliers than it may actually needs. Next would be the vendors managed inventory. This is where the inventory is managed by the vendor instead of the consuming party. Consignment process talks about the model of supplied managed inventory, also known as a vendor-owned inventory, or VOI, while supplier physically giving material to the customer at the time and point of use, and until that point, supplier retains the cost of holding the inventory and its title. That is it for me for your APICS ERP Integrated Supply Planning. Your reporter signing out.
Hi guys, Ali Umalia here. So we'll talk about logistics in supply chain management. As you can see on your screen, there is an illustration of logistics. As you can see on the point of production, this is where the product, the raw materials, and everything else that concerns with production falls under. And in the point of consumption, it is the other things that is mostly intangible, like information of the products that will be presented to the customers, the time, the energy, and the labor for delivering the finished products. So in the definition of logistics, it is a management of the flow of things between the point of origin and the point of consumption to meet the requirements of the customer or a corporation, which is a client. In this definition, logistics is like a linchpin of the supply chain management. Without logistics, supply chain management will not work at all. It is because logistics is where the most of the action in supply chain management. The main logistic target of a company, the main function of the company, from performance related and cost related. It means that logistics must be performed accordingly in a right price, due to the fact that logistics must not be delayed, and so that the production schedule and the schedule which the customer can receive the products that they ordered is delivered accordingly. And it is also needs to be cost effective to the company, because without regard to the cost, the company may spend more resources than it should be, and it can be detrimental to the company also. There are four main mediums that companies use to conduct logistics. The first one is through the land. It will be divided into two, the train and the trucks. Most of the time, trucks are the main option for companies to conduct logistics. The next one is through the sea. This is where the shipping lanes and shipping boats come in, and this is so far the cheapest way to conduct logistics through long distances. And the last one, and the most expensive one so far, is through the air. It would be airplane. This is the most expensive way to conduct logistics, but it is also the fastest. And there is a emerging sector, but it is not yet commercially available, which is conducting logistics through outer space. Let Elon Musk figure it out, how to make that commercially viable like airplane. There are two viewpoints of logistics. The first one is inbound logistics. Inbound logistics is mainly concerned to the logistics that is going in the company. It means that inbound logistics usually happen when the company orders supplies or raw materials for the use of production or other uses that the company needs. And the last one is outbound logistics. In outbound logistics, the company usually conduct on this activity for the delivery of the goods or products that they produce going to the customer. This is an illustration of the two viewpoints of logistics. There are 5 logistics fields that company can conduct. As you can remember, in the viewpoints of logistics, we can apply this viewpoint fields of logistics. So in the section, we can see that inbound logistics can have 2 fields. The first one is procurement. Procurement involves market research of the raw materials or supplies that will be needed in the company. The decision if the company will make the product or buy the product, and to find the right supplier for their raw materials or other supplies that will be needed in the company. The next one is production. If the company decides to produce its own product, here production comes in. Production is essentially to connect procurement to distribution, organizational, concept layout mapping, production planning, and control. Here's the process, essentially the production of the finished product from raw materials that of the procurement of the goods or raw materials that will be needed for production. In the right side, there are three fields in outbound logistics. The first one is distribution. It is the delivery of finished products to the customer. In this stage, the finished product that the company produces will be transported to the customer. It can be also delivering the finished product to the retail store, but most of the time it is delivered at the house of the customer. The next one is disposal. Disposal mainly deals with waste products during an operation of the business. This usually means that these waste products will be shipped to other places that safely kept or recycled. It can be also that the company will discharge these waste materials to the environment, which is not so ethical way to do logistics of this kind. The last one is after sales. This is the part where the customer returns goods to you for the exchange for new products or cash, and it is also deals with the complaints and other things that the customer after the sale of the product needs from the company. This part, after sales, can be also inbound logistics because the customer can usually returns the product, can be also outbound logistics, but for this illustration I put it on the outbound logistics mainly because if the customer returns a product, usually you replace it with another product, which is a function of outbound logistics. Many companies don't have sufficient resources to conduct its own logistic operations. Here, when outsourcing logistics come into the picture. Outsourcing logistics is mainly the way of the companies to fulfill their logistic responsibilities. Outsourcing logistics is a way for the companies to still function without direct involvement to their logistic operations. There are 2 main outsourcing logistic techniques. The first one is third-party logistics or 3PL. The definition of third-party logistics is third-party logistics involves using external organizations to execute logistics activity. As you can see on the slide there, this is an illustration of 3PL. As you can see there, the company will contact third-party logistics such as third-party logistic companies such as FedEx, UPS, it can be also LBC, Post Office, and other logistic companies. Third-party logistic mainly deals with the packaging of the product, the warehousing of the product, and the delivery of the products to the customer. The next one is fourth-party logistics or 4PL. The definition of fourth-party logistics is an integrator that assembles the resources of the company. In the concept of 4PL, the company usually handouts only the blueprints for their products, and fourth-party logistics will integrate that blueprint and assemble it according to your specification. So in this illustration at the slide there, I use real-world example here. Apple Incorporated will provide the blueprints to the fourth-party logistic company, which is Foxconn, and Foxconn will contact its networks to actualize the blueprints of blueprint of their products. In the illustration, I made a mini operations there. So the first one is Foxconn will contact its suppliers like TSMC, which is a semiconductor company, and other suppliers to execute the blueprint that Apple given to Foxconn. That the suppliers, the raw materials and other materials that will be needed for the execution of the blueprint of Apple for their products will be made in the factory of Foxconn in Shenzhen, China. So after that, it produces the product into a finished product, and they also have inventories of those products. It will be delivered to the Apple store or directly to the customer via the Apple online store. But the name Foxconn will not be recognition of those products is taken by Apple, not Foxconn. Outsourcing logistics can be useful also in terms of an emergency. There are times that specific time critical modes of transport used to move goods or object rapidly in an event of emergency. You can see below that there are 3 examples of those mode of transport. The first one is the latest technology, which is drone technology. It is used for emergency purposes because of its lightness and ability to carry light load for emergency purposes. The second one is another flying device, which is helicopter. This is useful for situations that the roads and other modes of transport cannot be accessed rapidly during emergencies. And the advantage of helicopters is it can carry larger goods than the unmanned drone. The last one is a truck, and in this truck that you can see on your screen mostly used for emergency purposes. It can carry large amount of goods, and it can withstand many natural disasters out there. Logistics as a profession can be a profession of a person. It is also lucrative. There are many jobs out there for logistics, and most of the time it is certified by professional associations like shipping lines, airports, or freight forwarder. So as you can see on your screen, there are 2 examples that I have given in a form of picture. So the first one is Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. This is a professional association for the professionals out there that conducts in logistics at an airport or airplanes. The next one is a government agency that is also a professional association that relates to the profession involving logistics, and that is called Bureau of Customs. This can be your friend for your operations. If you can friends with them, your logistic operation will be a-okay. There will be no or little problems that you will encounter if you're friends with them. And that's it, guys. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Trisha K. Solomon, and for today I'm going to discuss about the electronic data interchange and its relationship to the supply chain management. Electronic Data Interchange, or EDI, is a process which allows one company to send information to other company electronically rather than with paper. This exchange of documents is generally between the buyer and supplier and consists of transferring purchase orders, invoices, payments, shipping notices, and various other documents, and by nature eliminates paper trails and improves operational efficiency and enhances virtual exchanges with new trading partners. With EDI, any company can virtually interact with another organization anywhere in the world without the hassle of waiting times and forecasting future procedures. Now, take a look in the figure displayed in your screen. It shows the comparison between the process of having EDI and without the using of EDI. As you can observe, the order processing without EDI takes a lot of process from generating purchase orders, the sending processes to the seller, and the seller then enters the invoice to their system before the invoice is created. Next, the invoice will be sent to the buyer and the buyer will again enter the invoice to their system. Meanwhile, in the area of order process with the use of EDI, it eliminates waiting times associated with the manual processing, provides user with real-time product and stock level information. It also creates benchmark for future sales, forecasting, and reduces overheads by creating an efficient business processes. EDI replaces the manual processes involved in ordering and distribution, creating seamless electronic trading between the both buyer and supplier. For instance, in our SAP laboratory, we're able to input customers' orders smoothly into the system and create an invoice easily. It is one of the EDI's advantages. Talking about the advantage of EDI, let us now further discuss about its advantages. By implementing EDI, it helped many companies add value to their organization by automatically processing information, reducing clerical tasks, and eliminating data entry errors. EDI has a lot of benefits. It includes, first, it enhances quality of data. EDI minimizes data entry errors, improves accounts payable and receivable times as processes become streamlined and can be used for forecasting. Second, it improves timelines. Its transfer ensures real-time processing and eliminates time associated with manually sending, receiving, and entering orders. Now, for the third benefits, it is to improve turnaround time. Our business cycle is improved and stock levels are kept constantly up to date and visible, which is very important when it comes to the businesses. And for the fourth, we have cost saving in operational efficiency. It reduces the time it takes your staff to manually create invoices and process purchase orders. For the fifth, it minimal paper usage. EDI reduces associated expenses of storage, printing, postage, mailing, and recycling. And lastly, it helps create a greener world. EDI eliminates paper trails and ensures paper usage is kept to a minimum. Moving on, let us now discuss the e-commerce or electronic commerce. It is a commercial transaction which has happened over the internet. It offers a wider selection of goods and services. E-commerce is the process of buying and selling tangible products and services online. It involves more than one party along with the exchange of data or currency to process a transaction. It is part of the greater industry that is known as electronic business, which involves all of the processes required to run a company online. Presently, e-commerce is very common since the pandemic happens. The customer has all the time to shop online since it is convenient. However, the disadvantage of this is that the consumer couldn't hold or see the actual product they wanted to shop. Nevertheless, the e-commerce continuously operating. The electronic business, along with the supply chain management, has its own way of activities. These are the key supply chain activities: the production planning, the purchasing, the material management, the distribution, the customer services, and lastly, the sales forecasting. These are the electronic business activities that are involved in the supply chain management, and one of the most important activity in there is the distribution. E-commerce impacts supply chain management in variety of key ways. These are include the cost efficiency, the changes in the distribution system, the customer orientation, the shipment tracking, the shipping notice, the freight auditing, the shipping documentation and labeling, and lastly, the online shipping inquiry. These key ways positively affected the supply chain management due to the fact that the consumers are able to trace the location of their items and their expected date on when they will receive their orders. Supply chain management has the following requirements. Challenge of managing global supply chains. Outsourcing creates supply chain visibility challenges. Going beyond supply chain visibility to rapid response, high-value solutions for supply chain management. IT services are stretched, but operation performance goals are as important as ever. Supply chain management tools meet software as a service, on-demand service production, optimize value from the data center. High-value solution combined with the improvement-driven service drive real value. Steps to optimizing supply chain management. In conclusion, the SCM has improved the traditional business transaction into more adaptable and accessible one, most especially in distribution process. The satisfaction of the customer will surely be attainable as one of the main goals of the company. That concludes for the supply chain management topics, and we hope that you are able to jot down important details and learn from us. Thus, if you have further questions and clarification, feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat box. If none, we prepared a 15 items quiz for you, and the link will be sent in our Gmail chat box. Thank you.